Well, good morning, folks. My name is Q, and I welcome you to my little quiet corner of the internet. So, I debated as to whether to put this video in the Keys of Power self improvement category or in the occult realms category. I decided to do the video and put it in both categories. Why? Because the keys of power are all about self-empowerment, self-improvement. That begins with self-knowledge, self-introspection, learning not only who you are as you appear to the world and to yourself, but what you are in reality. And that is, for the most part, unseen. You as a person are unseen. Your physical body is there. People can identify you by gender, by height, by weight, by appearance, basically. But there's so much more to you behind the scenes. And that's what Keys of Power are about. You finding out about who and what you are. In the occult realms area, aside from discussions about ghosts and spirits and paranormal activities and UFOs, UAPs, whatever they like to call them these days, it really is about reality that has not yet been fully explained and explored. So this morning I wanted to talk about that because my wife and I often get into spirited discussions about science and scientists and how they look at the world. She has a very scientific mind. My mind is somewhere on the other side. I don't know how you would describe it. But at any rate, my pet peeve with scientists, and I believe in science, and I believe that science has transformed the world in many wonderful, wonderful ways. And we owe a great debt to science and scientists and factual knowledge. But the problem is that scientists go as far as they can go and then stop. In other words, they only believe in things that they can prove. I'm making broad generalizations, of course. There are many scientists that don't fit into that statement, into that generalization. But the fact of the matter is that the thing with science is that if you go back to just, let's say, the Renaissance period, where science began to gain a foothold of respectability above religious belief, religious dogma. And you'll find that science knows what it knows. It makes it uses a scientific method to make experimentations. And then they find something new. And then they discover something new. And then they discover more knowledge. And then they gain insight. And then they adjust what they believed before. And that is all good and well. That's kind of the way human beings have to live and exist. We go from one point of knowledge to another, and another. But for those of us who also live with their foot in the kind of occult world, undiscovered sciences, as I like to think of them, paranormal phenomenon, people like me who have psychic impulses and can read things in people, we don't really have a lot of science to back that up at this particular moment. And my issue is when people who hang their hats on science now wish to berate, criticize, make fun of, belittle people who have experiences that science has not yet been able to quantify, categorize, explain, and explore. And to be fair, there are many scientists or theoretical scientists that have really begun to open their minds to the possibility that all of this hocus pocus stuff about magic and manifestation, paranormal phenomenon, spirits that are passed away but still seem to be able to interact with our world, all of those things, they're at least keeping an open mind, and they're making explorations and creating experiments to examine the world not in the way that we always thought it was, but how it may be. And so much has been said about and explored into quantum mechanics and quantum physics. And there is where often quantum physics and spirituality begin to converge. A particular experiment comes to mind, and I'll explain it very briefly. I don't have a lot of technical jargon to put along with this video, but as soon as I tell you what that experiment is, you probably have already heard about it. And that is that in various experiments, it has been discovered that if they send a beam of particles through a barrier that has basically two openings in it, they have discovered that how those particles react and whether they divide evenly into those two slits or slots or holes in that barrier, whether they divide evenly and what you would consider to be mathematically, in accordance with mathematical probability, depends on whether that experiment is being observed. So in other words, those particles react one way if left to their own, experiment without being observed, and if there are observers, an observer or observers of the experiment, the particles react differently. Now, to my simple mind, my unscientific way of approaching life in general, that means that we have effect on environment around us. How far reaching that effect is remains to be seen, but we have an effect on the environment around us down to the subatomic particle level. What other effects do we have on the environment and the world around us, the people around us, and indeed our own energies, our own emotion, the ebb and flow of our own thoughts and emotions? Well, I can tell you that from the age of 6 years old, I have observed that there is an entire universe of spiritual realities, entities, powers, abilities, senses, all of these things that every single person that is alive and listening and watching this video interacts with. So my encouragement to you is, as I said before, self-introspection, self-examination, really focusing on your own actual interior experiences and see where that leads you, because I can tell you that it leads you to a wonderful place that will make you not only happier, more joyful, less stressed about life and what's coming ahead, as well as more powerful. Don't forget to visit my webpage, kumrantaj.com, and I hope you have a most wonderful day today.